start, Chief Sutter, will you give us the honors of starting the introductions?
Yeah, Chief Sutter, Linden Police.
My Fire Chief. Don Grice, DPW Director.
Brooke Carter, City Treasurer.
Kristen Kenyak, City Clerk. Ellen Glass, City Manager.
Denise Miller, City Council.
Brad Dick, City Councilor.
Mike Gilder, City Attorney.
Liz Armstrong, Mayor.
Jerry Link, Mayor Pro Tem.
Ann Howard, City Council.
Tom Hicks, City Council.
Brenda Simons, City Councilor.
We're gonna go right into our special presentations. Mr. John O'Brien from the Genesee County Drain Commission.
Good evening. Just to clarify, I'm John O'Brien, with Genesee County Drain Commission's Office, Division of Water and Waste Service. So I'm not part of the storm drain system. I can't answer any of those questions. So I was asked to give you an update of what's going on with the Southern Lakes. The township effect had a request from a subdivision, MCEC, Michigan, Chateau, I'm gonna say Chateau de Lake. Yeah, Chateau de Lac. Right now, that is a subdivision, with, about 16 homes on a private well, or private well for all 16, so the association operates that well. And it is heavily, contaminated with arsenic. And so the state and the township agreed that the best alternative was to bring county water or township water to, that subdivision. In addition to that, it will pick up, you can see, Silver Lake, it does pick up the future development of the housing on that project. So, at the top, you basically have the interconnect with, the city of Linden water system. So the county water system ends at, I wanna say Ripley and Ralston. And then you have a meter that comes down and serves the city. The township is going to basically extend water, down through, the city on Ripley Road, and extend out into the township. What's gonna be required though is that we're gonna have to relocate your master meter pit, and that is at cost effect township. So they weighed out the cost of running that additional mile or replacing the meter pit and installing a new meter pit to serve the city. So that's basically, they weighed the cost options, and they determined that it would be cheaper for them at this time to relocate the water meter and then extend from there from the south. So, we will be installing a new meter pit, and that will actually have to be installed prior to them doing water main work, because again, we're not putting you out of service, so, there may be minor hiccups, but it's not scheduled, there's not scheduled to be any water shut off. Once the meter pit is in and installed, then they will build the bypass around that pit and then provide service. We did recently get a request from the city, regarding ditching on Ripley Road. So we're looking into that cost and giving the cost back if you want to proceed with ditching on the west side of Ripley Road. The water main is gonna come on the east side. With that, that's about all that's updated right now. There is the potential for service in the future with the city, but at this time, it has been decided not to go forward with that. You have, your water mains stay south or north of the tracks. Any questions?
Any council members have any questions?
While I'm here, other than storm, any questions on water or sewage?
Do any residents have any questions for Mr. O'Brien? Okay, if you could just stand.
Hi, thanks.
My name's Patty. Oh, I'm sorry.
Go ahead first. No, go ahead.
Okay.
My name's Patty. I live at the very base of where you're targeting. My house is on Ripley and Silver Lake Road, the corner. Is all of this gonna be done at once? You're gonna satisfy the needs that the city, DPWT needs, as well as Fenton Township?
That,
Because I have a city drain in my driveway, and I have a county drain in my front ditch. So,
that
what
is.
jurisdictions that?
Yeah, that is their request, and we're looking at it, so it will get laid out, make sure that everything's sized appropriately, because that ditch will head north to the river. So, they're asking us what it would cost to design, size and design it for that purpose.
Okay. So what you're proposing is gonna be on the west side of Ripley, which will impact both my lots.
The water main is gonna be installed on the east side, so when we do that, we have to re-ditch the east side, but they've also requested having re-ditching on the west side.
Okay, just so you're aware,
I
there's
think
no
Don
coverage.
would like our DPW.
He covered it. Their project will take care of the east side, and we've asked if, while the contractor is there, so that we don't have to do it at a later date, more inconvenience, we were just wondering if they can do the west side as well, so we're working on getting those numbers together.
Okay. Because my priority is his team, because they're the ones who takes care of us. Not to be rude.
My question is it's coming through the city water line, so the city is gonna benefit financially from this water that's going through?
No, it is connecting to the county line, which the city is.
Connects to the city.
Connects to the city, so both the city and the township pay for that line north. So it's what we call as a community line, it's not an individual community line, it's a multi-community line. So they're tying into it, so right now, there is no financial gain or negative impact to the city.
Well, I'm gonna say, for example, we provide water outside of the city for the charter. And we get the, water fees. Are we going to be getting the water fees from the water that's supplied to these new subdivisions?
No,
Why not?
because the water mains you build are the ones you're getting fees on. This is the water main the township.
It's all done. That we all do.
Does it not affect the pressure? The pressure is not the best.
We're working on the pressure. There were some concerns this winter about kicking the pressure up any higher, due to the potential for water main breaks. So we're waiting, that's the city's decision of when to kick up the pressure. Because we still have available pressure. We've got a PRV, pressure reducing valve in service right now. And we're following, the city's recommendation for pressure.
Just for the audience benefit, so the city's currently, 4 quadrants of the city that we've been checking, is currently 10 to 12 pounds higher than what it was, previously. So, to John's point, we are going to be upping the pressure. We're doing it slowly, intentionally, so that we can see how our older water system responds to these increasing pressures. So, you'll see another increase probably in the next, 4 to 6 weeks here.
Any other resident questions?
Yep. So right now, there's a water main that's running down that road. Are we replacing that, or is there gonna be a new water main? Are we making it bigger to handle the increase?
So I believe it's an existing 8-inch water main, or 12-inch.
12 to 8.
12-inch and then 8, but it doesn't go all the way. They're bringing in a 16-inch on the east side. So your water main is currently on the west side.
Okay. So we're not replacing our water main, it's just gonna be a new one on the east side?
Yes.
Okay.
Any further questions? Thank you very much for coming.
Hey, and any other questions, feel free to call.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Look good. So the resident that requested the monthly read that proclamation. Whereas the Department of Defense has consistently acknowledged the vital role of military children and youth, and whereas these resilient young individuals demonstrate unwavering commitment, adaptability, and courage in the face of the unique challenges, and whereas military children contribute significantly to the strength and resilience of our military families and communities, and whereas their sacrifices often go unnoticed, yet they play an essential role in supporting the Army's mission, and whereas the month of the military child provides an opportunity to celebrate their achievements, honor their past, cherish their presence, and shape a brighter future, and therefore let it be known that we recognize and appreciate the contributions of military children and youth, and we commit to providing them with quality care and positive youth development, and be it resolved that the Mayor Elizabeth Armstrong of the City of Linden does hereby declare April 2026 as the month of the military child, and calls upon the individual citizens, government agencies, churches, and civic organizations in the City of Linden to observe the month with the appropriate programs, ceremonies, and activities as a way to bring our mission and vision into reality. And I did not create that wording, but I appreciate the resident that brought that forward. We received one piece of correspondence. That was a letter from the GCDC for Forest Ridge Estates. And we will now be moving into public comment. Marta Wright.
My name is Marta Wright. I live at 114 North Main Street. I'm here in support of City Manager Ellen Last. I don't know how many people have been here, but our last 8 city managers, we've actually had 3 that did anything for the city. There was Joe, there was Chris, and now there's Ellen. The other that were in between did nothing but their own things. They didn't do anything to help the city of Linden. And I certainly hope that this council will look back historically and see that Ellen has done the job that she was hired to do by the people on the council and the people of the city.
Thank you. Judy Preston.
Judy Preston. Anyways, a question I have is from September 24th filming for the hookup for the water to the original hookup, which is actually April 25. The people are questioning the charges that were on there. I do believe it was clarified very well by Ellen, but the public doesn't seem to think so, and somebody's having the public bring it up to your attention and rat again going around the system. Somebody's having the taxpayers do their job and have it all over stuff. Same thing, we're trying to do this or trying to do that. Somebody needs to shut their mouth and just do their job and stop telling the people things that they want done or may see that be done in this town. That is what the board is here for. We have a government board. We don't need somebody's big mouth going around here and saying, we're getting the mayor out, we're getting this person out, we're getting this, or not the mayor, the manager. We don't need it.
Monica Lerner.
I'm Monica Lerner. I live at 152 West Boston. So, the month of April being the Purple Up month, honoring the military child. So April 15th is the actual day. On April 16th, the American Legion Auxiliary is doing a military child table setting ceremony, and the public is invited to stand behind our young heroes. So, the mission of the LoC Senior Center is to provide and coordinate responsive programs and services which enhance dignity, support independence, and and offers stimulating and meaningful opportunities for adults age 50 and older living in the Southern Lakes region. So I'm gonna give a list of dates here. On March 23rd, I received an automated voicemail, like a robocall, saying that the arthritis exercise class for Tuesday, March 24th is canceled. The robocall didn't even pronounce LOC correct. So going the first, the April calendar, April 1st, there's no gentle flow yoga, no strength and balance, no wood carving, no pinochle. April 2nd, no drums alive, no chair yoga, no arthritis exercise. April 3rd, you're closed. April 6th, no cardio aerobics, no gentle flow yoga. On the 7th, no arthritis exercise, but there's 2 classes that were canceled. April 8th, no cardio aerobics. April 9th, no drums alive, no arthritis exercise. April 10th, no tai chi. April 13th, no cardio aerobics. April 14th, no arthritis exercise, again, both classes. April 15th, no cardio aerobics. April 16th, no arthritis exercise. April 20th, no cardio aerobics. April 21st, no arthritis exercise, both classes. April 22nd, no cardio aerobics. The other thing I noticed is Wednesday being the wood carving day, except that gets by the wayside when the move day on the first Wednesday. So my point is that repetition breeds familiarity, and familiarity feels safe. It was hard to get my husband into these classes. Now we have to start all over because the repetition has went by the wayside. Today I got a robocall about the classes, and it was cut off, so you didn't know who it was from. And if other seniors got that same call, they're gonna be confused, what's this all about? I keep hearing that there's no storage. However, I see that the pod is still here. There should be your storage. Give the seniors back their pool table right where it is.
Ashley Brew.
Thank you. Hello, my name is Ashley Crew, and I am a candidate for Genesee County Probate Judge. I do live in Fenton, and I am running for this countywide seat. I would appreciate both the council's and the public's support in this endeavor. It will be on the ballot in November of 2026. I am currently an assistant prosecutor in the appeals division of the prosecutor's office. I have done that for about 3 years. And prior to that, I represented municipal government. I was in the corporation counsel office. But before I started my career in public service, I had 10 years of private practice in estate planning and probate. And I did own my own business in Fenton for about 4 years, and I was very active in the Fenton and Linden Chamber of Commerce back when, before I was a middle-aged professional and I was a young professional. I started in coordination with a few others, a young professionals group in the Fenton and Linden Chamber, and I was very proud of that. So I'm very tied to this community. I do other service work. I'm a Rotarian. But more importantly, I have the requisite experience for the probate court. For those of you who don't know, consider yourselves lucky, because the probate court is not a court of criminal justice. It is one where people are swept into its jurisdiction simply because of life circumstances, guardianships, conservatorships, estates if someone has passed, mental health proceedings. And with that, I am also appointed in my current role on the statewide mental health diversion council. So I do have some literature with me today. If you'd be interested, I can hand it to each of the council. And also, if anyone is willing, I am still, through tomorrow, collecting signatures to place myself on the ballot. I will be filing this week. Thank you so much for your time.
Thank you. Let's Kenya.
evaluation for the city manager scheduled for this evening at your closed session. With that in mind, I would like to share my thoughts on her performance as you go into this meeting. To start with, I was on the city council in the 80s when we hired our first city manager. Since that time, I have remained active in the community, serving on various city boards or committees like library, parks and rec, cemetery, recreation, plan, master plan, and currently on CBA. I chaired the committee that built the playground. I assisted in planning for the boardwalk and drafting the successful grant application to fund it. My point is that I have interacted or worked with every city manager except one since then. From the DPW to the office to LoC, Ellen has assembled an outstanding staff to serve our residents. She has accomplished more in her 4.5 years than most previous city managers combined. I can say without reservation, Ellen is by far the best city manager we have ever had, and it's been a great pleasure to work with her. Linden is very fortunate to have her. That's all I've got.
Thank you. Mike Deeds.
I have two in there, so I'll hit them both, they're both quick. Also, I saw that, Mike Deeds 408 with the Wood Drive and the Michigan. I saw that the review for Ellen was coming up. I just wanted to say, she has a very unique skill set in that she can get along with people and she gets things done. I don't think that's a common trait amongst people that are trying to move something forward, so I applaud her for that. I just hope that you all recognize that, what a gem you have in having Ellen here. The second one that I have, I'll just hit that so you don't call me up again, is on these scooters. I'm telling you, I got electric scooters, I got electric bikes, I got electric mini bikes, dirt bikes running, I pop a wheelie going down my street. And then, I thought that was bad enough, but now I have gas-powered mini bikes running up and down my street too. And on the way here, I had two creeping out into the road, but they didn't want to put their feet down on the ground. They waited for me to go by and then zoomed across the road. Someone's gonna get killed, so we can wait till that happens, or we can start to think, what are we gonna do? I understand the state doesn't have a lot of guidance here, but I don't know. It's kind of like the Linden Road. We can wait for some poor person to die, and then we can put in a 4-way stop. Or in our case, we can wait for someone to die in Linden, and then we can address it. I'd rather we get it in advance. So please, it's summer's coming. It's gonna get worse, so please, do something.
Thank you. Charles Carter.
Mine won't be too long. I was here once before, saying I had driven all GM cars, and I called on many of the GM dealers in town, and I've gone through Linden much earlier than many of you were here. So what I wanted to say tonight was pretty much covered already. We have a great city group here that runs the city, headed by one of the better managers that you can find. And the only thing that bothered me about her, she didn't get paid for all she does. She works below her value. So I just want everybody to know that you got someone here that's really fighting for you. Thank you.
Thank you. Greg Jones.
Hello, I'm Greg Jones, owner of Subset Corals. I just wanted to say the same thing, it's all been brought up before, but, I just want to say Ellen's doing an amazing job. And her entire team is just, when I first was opening up my store, I can't speak for all the other businesses here, but everybody told me, you don't want to do anything in Linden. They're so difficult to work with. I had customers coming in saying, oh, But I know it's something we get to sell, if they don't know the answer to it, then they'll get back with me. So I haven't seen the evaluation on the agenda, and I won't make it a common thing for me coming up and saying, oh, don't worry. But I do always look through the agendas and stuff, and I just thought that it was really important to say that we have an amazing team here, and they do so much behind the scenes that it just is incredible, and I hope people out of our town have this. Thank you.
Thank you. Michelle Robbins.
Michelle Robbins, 122 Creekwood Circle, and I also own Linden Kitchen and Bath. And I won't go into my long speech that I wrote, but I'm basically also here to represent Ellen and all that she has done for this city. I've been on the DDA since 2015, and I have seen firsthand from the DDA, dealing with the city, dealing with city council, how much she has done for this city. It is incredible. And when you think of all that got dropped in her lap, from the infrastructure to the middle, which, by the way, here we are, moving forward, thanks to Ellen. The roads, we had the worst roads. We did not have a plan because of previous city managers that literally never even stepped out of their offices. It has, so between that, and now we have roads that are back in action, but some that needed to be worked on, but that'll happen because there's a plan now. And unfortunately, the water, we had the worst treasurer for so many years that nobody dealt with, and we're at the point we're at with the city water because of that. This is the first city manager that has actually come in with a plan and made stuff happen. We have the best team behind her, and she made that happen. But yes, as to see this, the businesses that have come and gone over the years, it's nice to see a full house, and she works with the businesses, and it's not a fight, and it's a beautiful thing. I just get really frustrated with people that wanna sit behind a computer and voice their opinion, especially when they don't know the background of where we've been as a city with the people that we've had running. I mean, she is literally the backbone of this town. And sitting through a forecast breakfast and watching, and no disrespect, Madam Mayor, you get up and give a speech that she wrote, and everybody said, man, she did a great job. But knowing that she wrote it, that's kinda hard to take. I just think of everything she's done, and I'm just blown away. And again, no disrespect, but since you've been on the board, Madam Mayor, I've seen, I think we have a chicken ordinance, and we almost had a lawsuit, a big lawsuit, I think. And a lot of drama.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Ed Toledo.
My goal is to make Ellen cry. I saw that on the agenda, that said closed session, and then it's bummer, because I'd love to hear the good stuff that you do. And there may be some things that you want her to do that she's not doing, but she's an adult, she's a consummate professional, so let her know in a squared off situation, one-to-one, and say, here's what I think, here's what we need to do. And I'm a city councilor, or I'm a person from the public that's in the city, whatever. I love Linden, wasn't born here, wasn't raised here, but I sure worked here, and I love it. But I've also been around the world, literally, and I know what good leadership looks like. and I know how good leadership acts, and I can't tell you, military background and all that stuff, like half the time when I get into an argument, I think just go fight you and win, you know what I mean, and then the problem's over. Ellen doesn't think like that, but she's got something that you can't find in many people. And she's willing to fight, not physically, but mentally, to get the job done. And she'll do what she understands the job is. And I've seen it from some of John Claude's videos where there's some times after a meeting, the staff and Ellen, they got a different viewpoint maybe than what the board had. That's just learning how to communicate. We have a lot of new board members now, you know what I mean? So it's just learning how to communicate. And the answer to that isn't during an open session. The answer to that is maybe in a closed session, or maybe just one-on-one where I say, hey, Ellen, let me take you out for coffee and tell you what I'm thinking. Or after a meeting to go and just say, here's what I understand you were doing for me, is that right? And get everything going, because she'll get it done. She just needs to know where the reins are and where the horses are and where the cart needs to be. She'll get you there. So my hat's off to you, Ellen. I, for one, I know that your discussion in the closed session can't be talked about, but I hope when her evaluation's out there, I'll get to see it, and it will be awesome, because Ellen, you are awesome.
Scott Ward.
Scott Ward, 602 Silver Lake Court. I'm also the chair of the ZBA. I actually have two things, if it's all right. First of all, kudos to Ellen. She makes our ZBA, her and her staff, we always have the correct agenda. Our meetings are organized because of Ellen, so thank you very much. Also, being a Lindenite, I had many people come to me during the mill questions about the library and the historical museum. Asked me what's going on. I didn't really know how to address that, so I met with Ellen one-on-one, and she told me exactly what was going on. I had some answers for the tell people instead of this off the cuff. So kudos to you. Thank you very much. Second of all, I am so excited about our pathway. We got a couple. I'm being patient with the staging area in front of my house. The road kind of went away a little bit. I graded it this weekend, and it's always going to happen when you have that much heavy equipment, and I understand that. The construction company has been awesome. They buried a truck in my field. They buried it, you can't even tell it's there. I take donuts to them, and they're great. What I'm hoping afterwards, when this is all done, that maybe Don and I and the company can bring our road back to what it was, or maybe a little bit better. Hopefully we can work together on that, because it's bad right now. We talked about this before. I didn't get an answer. I hope you keep it on your thought and agenda that I would like to see that road. It's a very narrow road. It's not even a deep road. When the garbage truck comes by, you have to pull off in my yard to let someone through. I would like to see it when it's all done and fixed up, if we could talk about making that a one-way road. I think it would help the situation. Maybe we can work together. I'd like to some answers on that as we approach. Thank you.
Are there any further public comments?
I put mine over with mine. If I may?
Well, give me just a minute.
I mean,
Hers must have gotten stuck to the other one. Lou Ann Eastland.
I said she lost it, and lost.
Just waiting. I really just want to say, I know this has been a little bit about but I just want to say that there is no question in the city of Linden where the expertise and the experience is. And it's sitting over there. And we all know it. I mean, we all know it. And so, I agree. There is absolutely no conspiracy, because the city wouldn't allow it. I mean, if anybody tried to get rid of any of you, we would be like so up in arms. We know who does the work on the ground. In fact, I had a conversation with Denise. I had a enthusiastic, not long came onto the council and she said, if it weren't for Ellen helping her to understand and maneuver the city, she would have had a much more difficult time working on the council. And I know that I've come to so many meetings, council meetings, I would have been lost if it hadn't been for Ellen or Don or somebody explaining to me what was really going on with some graphs or some understanding. And so I just want to say that I think that these people deserve so much of our respect and our consideration. And I don't know that Ellen is the only one who's getting evaluated. I think everybody's getting evaluated, and how do we treat the people that are so important to the running of the city, and that we are watching, and we expect that to take place privately, professionally, and not publicly for whatever political or personal gain that might be going on. We love you, Ellen. You do a great job for this city. Everybody knows it. I don't want to look back what was going on 10 years ago. I've said that to Don on more than one occasion. I watched that cemetery deteriorate into a mass of stone. And if it weren't for him, it would still be there. And that's true of all of you. So kudos to you. We appreciate you very much. And thank you so much for supporting them as they work for us.
Sorry, I did not see that. My name's Patty Hahn. I'm at 145 Linden Road. And I wanted kind of the community input. I've talked to a few people separately with the importance of the new bikeway going through the walkway. You guys, it's extremely important that we take a look at. My background is automotive, and we've created an unintentional circumstance by having that beautiful turn by the park at going down to 25 miles an hour. 200 yards later, it's 35, 45, and for 200 feet, it's 55. We're creating a Milan speedway, and it's gonna kill people. Not only with the vibrations of the exhaust coming out of the back. Remember when we were kids, those of us over 60? People get pulled over because of high exhaust noise, vibration, that actually destroys your internal organs. Not only the driver of the vehicle, pedestrians, oncoming traffic, and I think each of you drive down Silver Lake Road to and from to get to work. So it's really important that we protect the people that we're paving the path for, but also the people who are driving vehicles. We need to reduce, my proposal is we take 25 all the way to the city limits, 35 all the way through the lake. And I'm gonna request Fenton that they reduce their small little area of 45 miles an hour down to 35. Is there a benefit with a higher speed limit? Are more taxes accrued through the county? Maybe this is a question for somebody else. But this has got to be addressed. Done some research, and it's up to the city and the township. The whole area has a voice in this, not just the county. So I'd really like for you guys to consider, and I can map it out, but it's people are pulling off a road and immediately accelerating into a 45-mile-an-hour zone. And I would like to volunteer, if I may, to do some ambulance calls, because it's very frequent that when the extreme exhaust or fast acceleration goes through, within 30 to 40 minutes, there's an ambulance call. We've got to be preventive. We're gonna have children, and adults, and seniors on this walkway. Okay? I know this all caught us off guard, I think it's gonna be kind of cool. And where does that gentleman live? I have the staging area in front of my house. The 40 yards or 400 yards of dirt, oh my gosh, those guys have worked their tails off. And they've done a really good job. Been very respectful. But I'm still very concerned about the marshland that's been created. I don't even think that township's a buildable area anymore. You know, when it's talking about the old airport, that's all marsh. I don't understand where that water's gonna go. So, one other request is that we have cross-functional participation. Township, county, both sewer and water, drainage. We need to have cross-functional team members talking to each other. In automotive, we didn't solve problems unless we worked as one. So I really need you guys to be a team, and let's look out for the community. All right, thank you. Appreciate your time.
Any further public comment? We will move on to the consent agenda. Is there a motion to approve the consent agenda?
I'll make a motion to approve the consent agenda.
Yes.
Dick? Miller?
Yes.
Hicks?
Yes.
Simon? Yes. Link?
Yes.
Armstrong?
Yes.
Howard?
Yes.
Moving down into discussion items. The first discussion item is rules of procedure amendments.
Just bringing forth some simple changes within your current rules of procedure as previously discussed during one of the recent meetings. Hoping it addresses and captures what was discussed. And just looking for any feedback, just to briefly review the only things changed are within section 3 under agenda preparation. Just adding the 1:30 p.m. Deadline to align with the cutoff for public comment submissions. That will pertain to counselor agenda items as well, if everyone's okay with that. Incorporating unfinished business items into work session agenda formatting. Also just a note pertaining to business items being voted upon. I know sometimes we have some time sensitive things come up. So just kind of putting notation there to acknowledge that. And then lastly, within the regular meeting agenda, just with the addition of the all pending and newly applied for grants item as requested. Open to any feedback or answering questions.
Any residents have any question on the rules of procedure amendments? Seeing none. Councilwoman Simons?
No, I don't have any, questions. I agree with the changes, and I like the, 1:30 deadline without any.
Councilman Hicks?
I have no questions. It's fine, thank you.
Councilwoman Hill?
I have no questions, but I do like the fact that it's a placeholder, is a reminder that we have stuff we're working on. That's good.
Councilwoman Miller?
No, but thank you, Kristen, for getting that and putting it together for us. Appreciate it.
Councilman Dick?
No questions, let's hear.
Councilman Lee?
I'm okay. I'm good with it. Thank you.
Okay, thank you. Next is the Parks and Recreation Commission recommendation for the kayak walk project. Keepers of the Shiloh.
Madam Mayor, we did have at the last Parks and Rec Commission meeting, a recommendation to bring forward to council. We had 2 representatives from Keepers of the Shiawassee attend and review the enclosed information that you guys have in your packet. You see a memo in there around the proposal. And Parks and Recreation Commission actually voted to forward a recommendation to the city council to accept the project as submitted. And I think Don, I don't know if you have anything.
I was, in attendance at the meeting that night, and they just have what I consider a, nice improvement for the area that's, down.
It happened last
down
night,
the
too.
hatch. So, people been launching the river, down the opposite side of the bridge. So I think it'd be a nice amenity for the community. The project would include the, replacement of the stairs that are there, they're also gonna include a bench, a trash can, some signage, and then a kayak chute, we call it, that will launch kayaks into the river there. So I think it's a nice addition.
Do any residents have any questions about the proposed kayak launch? Seeing none? Councilwoman Miller, any questions?
No, I read that, and I think it's a great addition. I mean, gives us another place to put our kayaks if we want, and maybe even go fishing. So, thank you, and thank the people that put this together.
Councilman Dick?
Well, that's been talked about for a long time, but something that's, just gonna be a great addition. Thanks to Keepers for bringing this forward.
Councilman Link?
I don't have any comments. I think it's good.
Councilwoman Hill?
I
I really like the idea of this. It's good that they'll have a nice safe launch for kayakers and, other people wanting to use that little bit of waterfront. It's nice, it's a good addition.
Councilman Hicks.
I'm happy to see it. I use that area myself quite frequently. There's been many times where the grass has been wet and made the kayak kind of pretty going down that slope. So new steps and a slide would be perfect. So,
Councilwoman Simon.
I think it's great.
I agree. All right, moving on to item C, draft budget.
Madam Mayor and City Council, in front of you guys, Brooke has actually passed out a copy of the draft budget tonight. We're not gonna go through it in great detail tonight, it's just to get it in front of you. When we discussed, council's, priorities back in January, we took that into consideration as staff was sitting down to meet and prepare this. And, we feel that it does meet, most of the requests back to the staff. And the narrative during that meeting was wrapping up a lot of the LC projects that we currently have and getting those across the finish line. We have bridge projects, we have mill and resurface projects on Broad, that's gonna span over, the course of 2 budget years. We have the Safe Routes to School project, we have the mill project, obviously, bridge projects, I think I mentioned that, but, so a lot of that, a lot of this budget is maintenance and getting those projects across the finish line. We do have, the columbariums, built in here. So more than anything, just wanna get it in front of you all, have you take some time to review it. If you have questions, please reach out to myself or any of the staff. And then at the next meeting, we'll have each of our department heads present, and go through it in greater detail. And, again, we welcome any questions prior to the next meeting, so we can come prepared to, answer those. And, it's a work in progress, I would say that, as always. The other thing that I wanna mention too, that, I'm looking at is just, internally, our staff wages. Some of our positions are, unfortunately artificially low, and I would like, to take a greater, dive into those and bring those up to industry standard. We've had some more recent, positions posted, amongst our radius, and some of them are support positions that are paying greater than some of our department head positions. So I just wanted to mention that, I think it's important as we move forward. Council has talked about retention. When I got to the city, retention was difficult. We had a revolving door with staff, and we finally have a stable staff, and a very capable staff. And I wanna try to maintain that as much as possible. So in looking at those wages and things like that is something that I think, is necessary. So just wanna mention that. And then, as you guys know, PFM is completing their review of the utility rates, and they will be making, a presentation at the next council meeting. Again, they're not asking for you guys to vote on that, but they're gonna be here to go through that in greater detail. So that'll also help to, clarify the, water and, budget as well. So it's kind of where we stand. If you guys have any questions, happy to field those right now, but that's kind of our process. And then the budget actually, would be up for adoption for public hearing in May, so.
Thank you. Any residents have any questions? Councilman Dick?
No, got a lot to look over.
Councilman Link?
Yeah, I mean, we just need to look over. I do appreciate last year, I came in your office and we went down through, pretty much me and Denise were there, line item by line item, just to get proper understanding. So I do appreciate that.
Councilwoman Howe?
I'm going to take a good look at it, and I thank you very, very much for this budget, and also for taking the grave issues seriously.
Councilman Hicks?
definitely a lot to look at here, be some good reading, some late nights. Looking forward to going through it.
Councilwoman Simons?
Yeah, I'm with everyone. I'll take a really nice look at this and send you any questions that I have, Ellen. And I just wanted to say, Jerry and Denise, I did that with 3 people. First time I went through the budget, and kind of a daunting task, but, you know, year over year, we get used to it. But this is gonna be some good reading. Thanks, Al.
Councilwoman Coleman.
Paul, you want to set a date so we can do this again? Yeah, it was very beneficial last year, you know, first year on, looking at, you know, budget, how it all works, and taking into a lot of consideration everything we have in the economy, and I think it will be okay. Thank you.
And yes, I'm looking forward to going through it. Thank you for providing that in advance. All right. Then we're gonna work on our business items. Ordinance number 426, amending section 31.040 of chapter 31, Parks and Rec ordinance.
So during recent meetings, Parks and Recreation Commission and staff reviewed and talked through proposed changes to the bylaws and the future ordinance as well. And to ensure consistency and alignment, the Parks and Rec have forwarded a recommendation of approval of this ordinance, just bringing it into alignment with the bylaws. The only things changed here are in red, pertaining to clarifying residency, officers, as well as better clarifying the, what we believe was the initial intention of the student advisory role. And it's just the only section. So we are just looking for a motion to approve. Once it's approved, it will get sent to the paper, and then it will go into effect 10 days from publication.
Are there any resident questions on this item? Councilwoman Miller?
No, I don't think I have any questions.
Councilman Dick?
The biggest change is making all resident members voting members, is that the case?
We got rid of, right now it was 5 voting members into advisory. We ran into some trouble when we didn't have enough voting members present for our meeting, so this just kind of clarifies it.
Councilwoman Simons?
I'm in agreement.
Councilman Dick? Councilman Dick?
No, looks pretty good to me.
Councilwoman Howe?
I'm sincerely glad that you changed the voting to all, so that you don't have non-voting members, because that's always been a problem in the past, that we sometimes didn't have a quorum for the Parks and Rec. So this really sets it straight, and everybody is a voting member, and that really works well. Thank you.
Councilman Lynn?
Yeah, I like it. I also like the, inclusion of a high school student in there, just to kind of maybe get some kids more involved in the city and local government, so that was good.
I am definitely in support of this. Is there a motion?
I will make a motion that we approve, amending section 31.040 of chapter 31, Parks and Recreation Commission ordinance.
Support.
Armstrong?
Yes.
Lee?
Yes.
Simons?
Yes.
Howe?
Yes.
Dick?
Yes.
Miller?
Yes.
Hicks?
Yes.
Moving on to resolution number 03-26, authorization of contract extension request to Genesee County CDBG program.
Madam Mayor and City Council, this is the project that we actually had to rebid, to make sure that we don't lose our CBG. As you know, and just to clarify, normally we don't handle business items unless it's absolutely necessary because of the time sensitivity, with these couple of items, that's why it's in front of you. So we are asking for a motion to approve, the resolution.
Are there any resident questions on this item?
Yes.
Hicks,
Yes.
Armstrong,
Yes.
Miller,
Yes, totally support.
Hout,
Yes.
Dick,
Yes.
Simon.
Yes.
Motion carries.
Rebid approval for the Linden Gazebo sidewalk reconstruction project.
Madam Mayor and City Council, I apologize, this is kind of combining the two, unfortunately. We had to extend the, CDBG, resolution because of the project, so this is actually, it's all.
Any resident questions on this item? For the Linden Gazebo sidewalk reconstruction project? Seeing none, any council questions or statements? Is there a motion?
I will make a motion to approve the rebid for the Linden Gazebo sidewalk reconstruction project. I support.
Miller,
Yes.
Simon,
Yes.
Hout,
Yes.
Dick,
Yes.
Lee,
Yes.
Hicks,
Yes.
Armstrong.
Yes. That moves us back of the agenda to unfinished business items.
Do you want us to go through them? I guess we weren't sure what your guys' pleasure was, it was just, yeah, I'll let you guys drive.
Yeah, I mean, I just go right down, the first one is the meeting recording. This is something that was, discussed back when the new vendor was here February of 25, and we've kind of been progressing on it, so I guess I'm just looking for a status right now. I know we've got the iPad. I think there was some discussion, I was not at ComCon or whatever, CamCon, I wasn't there, so I don't know what it was, but there was discussion of a cart or something, and I think there's other council members that are more versed on this,
So this
than I,
is-
but.
Yeah, so I can let Kristen go into more detail, but honestly, I think you guys know I had given an update previously that we're trying to troubleshoot and see if there's some similar things that we can do, to address the recording of meetings and things like that, so, Kristen's been testing out one of the tablets. We're also talking about, upgrades to the microphones that it would actually tie right into the, sound feed. And so those are items that we are looking at. She's been working on, trying to solve this, for a long time. She's been working diligently on it. And actually, the company that you guys seen at CapCon is actually the company that presented to you guys a couple months ago. Maybe not a couple months ago, but you would know better than I would when they presented, but, it was actually the same exact company that the counselor spoke to at CapCon that was here and presented on the overall, meeting recordings and things like that. So I guess, it depends on how sophisticated and how simple, council wants it, but Kristen was trying to problem solve based on individual feedback that she had heard from some of the council and stuff like that, and just see if it works. So I guess with that, if there's anything you wanna add?
I had shared the link to the city's YouTube channel, just looking for feedback. If the sound needs improvement, I personally thought, but if you feel like the sound is sufficient with the tablet, then maybe we don't need to go any further. But it sounds like there was a request for, perhaps a new microphone system, that could be placed on a temporary rolling cart, which we actually believe still have from the previous council chambers. And I will be jumping on a call tomorrow with the same company that has come here before, to talk through options of what would be compatible with a laptop and or a tablet. So that's, maybe I should have more information after tomorrow, but, so, yeah.
I know when he was in here presenting, the one gentleman was in here presenting, we had talked about, him coming back with a $10,000 option instead of the, whatever, I think it was 40, but where do we stand on that?
Sure, he wanted direction from me, and I relayed this was recently getting to the microphones, since we did not have a system that could be reduced to that cost, so where we're at now is looking at microphones, potentially using.
Thank you.
Alright. Contract statuses, the museum letter.
Yep, we don't have so we have a contract actually with the library, I don't think that it expires, and I'll double check till 2027. And the museum, was presented with just a draft, lease, and things like that. So as we near, completion and, the project nears completion, we can work on finalizing that. You'll see that come back in front of you guys as necessary. That's kind of where it stands with all of that. It looks like we skipped over grant updates as well. But you guys seen a pretty extensive list in front of you a month or so ago, maybe longer, of grants that we had applied for, grants that we were maybe currently pending and things like that. So our staff works diligently to identify grant needs or grants to take care of various city needs. More recently, our police department did apply for appropriation funding for cruisers. We're still, sounds promising, but again, we don't know. So we'll wait to hear eagerly on that. We did work on an appropriation for taking care of some longstanding upgrades to City Hall, especially for police and fire. And so we submitted that. Again, it's appropriation through Peter's office. I know Mueller has been working on identifying some potential funding for any utility type projects that we would potentially have, and have not heard anything there. So it's kind of where we stand right now. Is there any other ones that maybe I'm missing that I need to highlight? I know fire department, again, will be working with 100 Club, and so will the police department too, to submit, for some potential projects, there, or some needs that they have for their departments as well. So, the LOSI van update, that was a grant, that we had applied for in partnership with MTA to supply LOSI with, a van. We have not heard the status of that. It's a federal grant, so we're kind of at their mercy. Melinda that we work with at MTA is the lead on that, and so when we hear and know more, but as we were, it was communicated to us, it is a for sure thing, it's just a matter of if and when, the new van would be delivered. And obviously then that brings into, Tessa will be working on how we provide that service to the public, finding volunteers or permanent driver, things like that. They did keep the van size under the threshold for, specific licensing, because obviously that comes into play, and things like that. So trying to keep it as simple as possible for our first, time having our own vehicle here at LOSI. So, as soon as we hear more, you guys will know more as well. But it's exciting for us to have that and extend those services here, in partnership with MTA. And then it looks like the comment cards update. I don't really have anything on that. I guess, do we have anything there? It's more just, these were items that you guys had requested to go on the agenda tonight, so we're happy to hear any feedback that you guys might have too, so.
I have a couple on the previous ones that you
Oh,
had
sorry. Yeah.
spoken on. As far as the monthly grant updates, it just says right now that it's all pending and, newly applied for. Can we throw in the ones that like either we received or, I mean, cause like I mentioned in one of the previous meetings, that way the residents can say, hey, you know what, we're out here, we're applied, maybe for the last, I don't know, a year, pick a time frame, so we can say, hey, look, here's the ones we won, here's the ones we lost, and whatever reason, just so we can kind of keep a track and see exactly where we're going. And if a resident wants to know, hey, are we going out for grants? Yeah, we are. We didn't get it for whatever reason, or we did get it, but just so everybody knows what we're trying for.
Sure. That list that we put in front of you guys before was, I think it was
yes.
at the request,
Yes.
went back 5 years.
Yes.
So, we'll try to update that as frequently as we possibly can, so.
Okay, great, thanks. And then, the LOSI van.
Yes.
That's a federal grant, so that is not dollars out of, does that cover the full van price? Or?
Yeah, it
'Cause I
does,
know
but
there's been
what's gonna
concerns
happen?
about what is the city paying, so if you could address that. So.
Well, what'll have to happen is the LOSI's going to have to look at how they're going to be able to, address the program once driver, and then obviously upkeep maintenance and things like that. So there'll be an expense, and, but Tessa is working on that, and Melinda, many of the other senior centers have that as well. And luckily, because of our partnerships that we have with, like Southern Lakes and stuff like that, part of the, agreement that we had with them was for providing additional services or new services and stuff like that. So, we're not worried about being able to, cover that as of right now. But again, it is something that will be, worked into the regular local budget, and Tessa will bring that.
It's just the big
Yeah.
upfront cost
Yeah,
is
it's
being,
covered.
is covered, yeah, that's, yeah.
If for some reason that changes, we'll certainly bring it back to you all and you will.
Any other council members have questions, concerns?
I have, a question about the comment cards. I think because a couple people have come in at the beginning when we started it, beginning of last year, about comments. I thought we had it, Ellen would ask, or answer the questions. And then it would go to people to answer through phone. And then we were supposed to hear back of what the response was, if we could. So we're just making, see if we can get the full circle that was done, because we've had people say they haven't gotten phone calls.
So the comment cards that we get right now, I try to address all public comments during the meeting, so it's on the record, and obviously that's in the minutes. If for some reason I can't provide an answer, or my staff can't provide an answer, then we do provide a, return phone call, email, and that is documented, and Kristen keeps record of the comment cards within our system. So I guess that's the challenge for us as staff too, is understanding that, you know, you all as 7 members, you know, making the decision and the majority speaks, right? So it's very difficult for us to know where we landed on that, because I don't know that, was it officially voted on?
Where I thought we left off was, the minutes were put place for that, and the minutes are the record, so I guess, I thought we were just, you guys were just testing how we were,
But again, happy to hear that.
I had brought that up, and that was where the status was at that time. I think, you know, when I brought it up, it was originally that there was, individuals saying that they hadn't heard back from the city. And I felt that this was a good coverage, so we put it at the back of the meeting, the meeting minutes that, or the agenda packet that, from the previous meeting, that allows us to say, hey, look, so that there's no confusion, hey, you know, all these questions were answered, and here's, if it was answered in the, if you answered it during the meeting, obviously it's in the meeting minutes, and if it was at the end of the following agenda packet, that, it would be proof that, hey, you know, both sides, if we're missing some of the comments, responses, we can identify wherever the issue is, but if the responses were given, it's shown that, hey, you know, we did respond. And we did kind of say at the time, we were relatively new at that time, but as a council, everybody kind of said, well, let's kind of wait, leave it where it is right now, and we'll see where it happens, you know, what happens with it. I think we still have that issue. I think some people, I'm hearing that issue. I don't feel that it was as common as it was back then, but, you know, you know, whatever the council wants to do at this point, continue as is, or, you know,
I
maybe
think
change.
part of that conversation too was adding, and that's where, Madam Mayor, you suggested adding the box for question or statement, because a lot of times we do get just statements. And, so, they're statements, you know, and there doesn't necessarily require a follow-up, but, my staff and I, really take the approach that we try to follow up with, you know, so, but yeah.
Any other council? Questions? We can move into the manager's update.
Just a few things to update you. I mean, I think you can drive around town and see that the various projects are starting to, like, whispering comes all of that. Obviously, you guys know we've gotten a significant amount of rain with more on the way. Our staff is, out and about and constantly making sure that, things are, working the way that they're supposed to be, and if there's any need there, then they communicate that with us, and address as needed. I know Don and our DPW's in, conversations, and know that the, county is maintaining the dam, and keeping that, an eye on that as well. Safe Routes to School project getting underway, hopefully wrapping that up as soon as possible. We did our kickoff for Box City last week. Kristen sent you guys more details for the, second portion of that. It's always an exciting time for us to be able to engage with the kids of our community, and, see their sparkle and hope. So it restores ours too, so it's good stuff for sure. And Box City, obviously the bridge project that we have going on, you've seen that, there's been some adjustments to the lanes there. Coming soon, we're going to be having the update, or, not the update, but the, mill and resurface for, Broad Street. So,
That's a slide.
okay, got a slide.
John, thank you.
Go ahead.
Yeah.
You're talking about grants, and these are, we actually have 3 different grant programs, grant sponsored programs going on in town right now. So this is exciting stuff to talk about, but it's certainly not gonna be without its, challenges. So starting today, most of you that came up here probably had to drive through the lane shift. So there's bridge work happening right here on North Bridge. That will remain open to two-way traffic, but, like you experienced, there is a lane shift there currently. So we're working through the challenges of, we lose parking because they had to use the parking, for a travel lane. So we're trying to work with the businesses and do some things there to, alleviate, some of the hardships there. Once this section is finished, this is all part of one grant project, they're gonna move up here to Ripley Road. Ripley Road will be a full closure when they work on that section. So, that will certainly, limit the traffic there in that area. So those projects kicked off, or those 2 kicked off today, so once they finish up on North Bridge, they'll move over to Ripley. The larger challenge we have coming that's gonna start as early as next week, I do plan to, once we have things really kind of pinned down, this is preliminary, we will hold a public meeting so that we can meet with the residents that are gonna be impacted by this project, is the milling and resurfacing of East Broad all the way out to Ripley Road. And that is going to, in all likelihood, turn East Broad into a one-way, eastbound only traffic. We're gonna we wanna maintain it open so that residents can obviously get to their houses, so that we can get trash, so that we can get mail, and so that the businesses are available. But it will be, in all likelihood, one-way traffic. The overall detour for people that would just be traveling through Linden is actually down Owen Road. So it would take traffic that, for example, that's going north of town or west of town, all the way down to Owen Road, up to Linden Road, and then out that way. This route here is intended for local traffic only. So this will be open to 2-lane traffic. This is Tickner, and that's how folks are gonna get through and around this construction project. So we're all gonna have to be patient. The good news is it is a mill and resurface, so these kinds of projects go relatively quickly. We're talking weeks instead of months. So it's not gonna be a season-long project. It should move along pretty quickly, but there's certainly gonna be some challenges, and we're gonna do the best we can to alleviate that. At this point, they're talking about doing it in 2 phases, and this is gonna be an update, Chief, for you guys too. Last phone conversation we had, they're talking about doing this section, so between Mill and North Bridge last, because they want to allow for parking and stuff along that section as long as they possibly can for the businesses that are in that area. So, that's the latest. We're trying to pin things down in the next 48 hours. Soon as we know we have that nailed down, I will start, advertising for the public meeting, and then we can invite folks in to learn more about it and provide feedback, so. Lots going on, and it's gonna be a little hectic in our little downtown for a while. Glad to take any questions you may have.
Ticker Street. Go ahead. I know. Okay, Tickner Street, you're going to have all the traffic going down Tickner Street?
It will be all the westbound traffic and local traffic, yes.
Scott, are you gonna be around?
Yeah, but it's gonna be busy, we have to be patient with this, like
Oh,
John
no,
said.
I agree.
Yeah, I mean, you're gonna see a lot more traffic. You will.
No, I think a lot of it is just communication, because, maybe I see people going into the other subdivision going out. Is that a possibility if you go through Saddlewood?
Well,
Can you use that?
the only time we could potentially need to use Saddlebrook is right when they're doing construction right at the intersection of Ripley. So we're just trying to keep the detour as short as possible, and this was certainly the shortest route. Now, you know, the people that are gonna have a real challenge, so for example, the folks that are visiting and working here, they're gonna have to go all the way around, and catch the eastbound to come back to get into this area, so, you know, it's gonna be about a mile detour for them when it's all said and done. But it'll take a couple days for people to figure it out. Once they have it figured out, usually the chaos subsides to some degree, but,
Do you kind of have an idea of where in the summer, or how soon this is coming?
this could be starting as early as next week, so.
When you have a resident meeting?
We are going to try to have a resident meeting, I would say at this point it'll be Monday or Tuesday.
Is there a flyer that you can put out on next door neighbor or something?
Like I said, in the next 48 hours, I'm hoping to lock down a few more details. I just wanted to get it in front of council as soon as possible. I'll try to lock down those details, and then we will release something to, you know, our social medias and the Civic Plus and all that, so that we can get it out to as many people as possible. And then I will put out signs on that route once we have a date and time for the public meeting.
Okay, Don, thank you very much, and also thank you for the updates on the dam this weekend. It's grueling for you guys, and I've seen a lot of roofers out there.
It was dicey.
Oh, it was, yeah, it was a little scary, so, thank you for all the things you do.
Just a quick question. The contractor that's doing this job, have they purchased the millings off the city, or are those coming to us?
So they're gonna work with us on millings, so we are able to keep some millings. We've looked at a couple of locations where we can dump and potentially store millings, and we're gonna utilize some ourselves.
So we're talking 20%, 30%, you know?
I think they would probably give us what we want, so.
I think there's some projects we could use that.
Yeah.
I have to say, I think there's some projects we could use.
Well, we're, you know, Eagle Wooden Park and stuff, we'd like to dress that up a bit too, so it needs some attention. So we do have some internal projects.
Don, thank you very much for those alerts that you send out on Civic Plus.
That was staff helps.
Oh, yeah, most helpful. Staff, thank you very, very much. And so, as part of, one of the residents on that route, there'll be a way for us to access Hickory or?
Well, no.
Will you have us, you'll give us some directions on how we can escape our driveways?
Yes, so in your case, you're gonna be constantly going east.
Okay.
So-
Okay, that's good. I just wanna know, that's all.
Sure, yeah.
I'm not picky, I'll do
We'll
whatever.
we'll absolutely get that.
No four-wheel drives off the yard though, right? Okay, all right.
Something John can't control.
Any resident questions?
what are we doing on the Ripley Road Bridge?
It's maintenance, it's heavy maintenance, so,
Okay.
yeah, resurfacing and doing some structural, repairs.
And how long do we think it's gonna take? Weeks, months?
Weeks, yeah, weeks per location, so we're hoping to have that, wrapped up, I'll say, mid-summer, somewhere in there. You know, we wanna be out of the way before the Ripley Road project with the county starts.
Right.
You're welcome to post whatever size sign you need to on my property.
Okay, thank you.
Put them in that.
I want one of those speed signs that says crazy grandmas live on the street.
That piece that's. Yes, we're aware and they will address that.
I didn't hear that question.
There's actually a small piece of, concrete that, fell out of the bridge, on North, Bridge, and, they will address that.
Thank you, appreciate it. Do you have any other questions?
No.
So our staff has been in conversations with the VFW for the upcoming Memorial Day parade, so we talked about some changes. So they have met with leadership at the VFW and confirmed, yes,
We have
so they're aware of what's going on and moving around with that. Trying the best we can to minimize as much disruption as possible. With that Memorial Day, as you guys all know, we appreciate any help that we can get that day. The parade itself is, put on by the VFW, the city council, and the, city itself is the one that does the community picnic and concert in addition to that. More information coming out on that. On the heels of John getting up here presenting, but you guys all know that he is retiring. I'm trying to work on getting, everything out in position, so hopefully we can, have a replacement, that can work with Don, to help minimize and do as smooth as transition as possible, but,
You have a twin brother?
yeah, I wish.
Twin brother? No, I don't.
And then as you guys all know, we do have a survey out for the quarterly budget milling. That was something that was asked of us, back, I think when we had BFM last time, it was something that we had had a few residents ask, is that a possibility? So as you all know, that was asked for us to research that, to put it out there, so it is out. We've gotten, maybe, I don't wanna say a couple hundred, but we've gotten well over 130 responses, I think.
That was the last update that.
Yeah, so over 130 responses, and things, and it's trending and leaving it, quarterly, which us as staff is a good thing. Anyway, just wanted to let you guys know that that is still out there.
And Mayor, can I, one thing, Ellen said, I think with monthly, a lot of people do monthly. You know, we budgeted on our home bills, you know, I paid me personally, I went down to, the city and asked them what my bill is normally. I take that into quarters, and normally I have a credit, except this time with my granddaughter moving in. So, I think there's an ability to pay our bills monthly, but I think quarterly.
Yeah, our staff in the treasurer's department will work with the individuals, and they have great detail on the accounts and stuff like that. So I know we've had an influx in calls on the most recent, billings and stuff like that. There has not been any changes with rates. If you're seeing an increase, it's gonna be on the usage side of things. I would encourage you, contact our office, Brooke and Jen, in our treasurer's department. Again, can pull up very detailed information about the accounts. They can look at, if there's a potential for a leak. If for some reason they can't seem to identify it, we'll schedule an appointment, our DPW will go out on site and do any leak detection. So please funnel them to City Hall, talk to Jen, and Brooke, and if there's any issue there, they'll try to troubleshoot it, so. That's all I have. Thank you.
We're gonna move on to council comments. And I'll start with Councilwoman Howard.
Thank you, Madam Mayor. I have a couple things to comment on. At the Metro Alliance meeting that was held in March, we approved the Genesee County, our future master plan, and we also approved the Flint and Genesee County Strategic Trails Plan, which is, Black Pathway is considered part of that. And I'm agreeing with the comments on the speed limit coming into town. We need to do something, cause as I'm coming into town, just passing the city limit sign, I slow down to 45, I slow down to 35, right there in front of the church. And the people in front of me are just going ballistic around the corner, there's no slowing down whatsoever, they're going right into town, so, and they're going right by your, so anyway, it would be nice to look at that. I also wanna look at, as soon as ASAP, we need an erosion control project on the gazebo. The land around it is swiftly eroding due to the river, and it happens every spring too, sometimes towards the fall when we get extreme rain events, but it's obvious that the water level's been up for, all week, and it fluctuates down, fluctuates up. And I've gone over every block and looked at it from the dam, it's just, we don't do something like put the retaining wall back, we're gonna lose it. So we need to do something to conserve that, the land around the gazebo. And there was a retaining wall at one time, been told that by many elderly residents, and some not so elderly, and, but there was retaining wall at one time, the remnants of it are still there, you can still see it, so we need to, do something. Although it has been interesting to see kids fish off the gazebo, that for sure. And then, sorry about that. And that's really all I get.
Councilman Hicks.
I just have two quick little things. One I'd like to bring up for conversation, on our regular council meetings at the end of the month. I would like to put on the agenda a monthly report of the Genesee Center of what happened in the month before. I was under the assumption that we were supposed to be getting these reports monthly.
We do, Tessa submits them in their monthly report.
Okay.
I don't know that it's labeled Losi, I apologize. I think it's community, or something, or is it labeled Losi? It's labeled Losi, I apologize. So it is in our monthly, it does come in the, regular council meeting. She submits one as a department head.
Okay.
So I can get it.
Okay, not a big huge thing, it'd just be nice to know what's going on. So, if there's something we can address at the time, we can address it, see what can be done. And, just the way to follow up, I mean, it's probably, we do have an HDC meeting here this Wednesday at 6:30. So the public is open for it, so I hope to see people stop by. Thank you.
Councilwoman Sines.
Yeah, just a few things. I agree with the speed limit headed downtown. I always have, I maintain my position on that. Just, seems to be a hazard when people are pulling out of a subdivision. They have a hard time pulling out. I have a hard time pulling out there too because of the speed limit change. Maybe we should investigate what was brought by Ms. Khan about the pathway, and the, vehicle emissions. Not quite sure that it still applies because of the catalytic converters. We have, vehicles are different now. They aren't the same as they were 20 years ago. Seeing our businesses come in and advocate for our, city manager was wonderful. There were 9 people, and a few of them were, our business owners. That says a lot, speaks about volumes. And Greg, you're one of them, and you're welcome anytime. You said you don't want to come and talk all the time, but you're very welcome. We look forward to it. So we were talking about the, Tickner, and talking about the, kite launch. So we had that rain here lately, and that got really bad, and that water was, like, up the sidewalk. Do we have any plan, or are we looking at, like, any type of retaining wall there? I I don't know if that is our responsibility at all, but, just that I noticed that down there on by the launch. And then staff wages, I truly agree with that. I'd love to see what the industry standards are showing at this time and take a good look at that and, be as good as we can to our city employees because they truly deserve, to have a really good work environment and a really nice wage. The gazebo, yeah, Pam mentioned that the retaining wall is gone. I was down there, it looks like, there used to be rocks. It looks like rocks have been shoved into the river, so maybe that's all we need to do is get some rocks back in here. I don't know, but, thanks for taking a look at that. And congratulations, Don. I heard you were retiring, and I said he's not old enough, but the younger you retire, the better off you are, so thank you for everything, sir. That's all.
I, had a friend call me that the water price, the amount of water she was using went way up. And the first thing I did, I called the city, and she did. And it was while her husband was passing away, and she wasn't home much. And she was able to go, and Brooke, I believe, helped her with, getting into where exactly it was running. Specifically, it was in her second bathroom she hardly ever uses, and it was continuous with work. So what she did was she went home, she was able to say, okay, turn off this water valve all the way down to the Pacific bathroom and fix the problem. So I think a lot of people might be seeing, their water leaking at one spot, or not even noticing it's leaking, and that's where they're getting the higher bills, and that's what we see a lot of people commenting on social medias about the, increases. So thank you very much for helping me with that, I appreciate it, good job.
Councilman Bear.
It's all right, I just have one quick question, Madam Mayor, for Don. Is it Genesee County still controlling that dam manually, or do they get electronic controls back on that?
But my understanding is it's electronically controlled, but all last week, they were down here daily because I think they had as much concern as we did, so. But I do believe it's back under electronic control.
Councilman Bear.
I don't really have much. I know we're going into closed session. I think if we want the students to come up and sign off on their paperwork before we go in, so they don't have to stick around any longer than necessary. But other than that, Don, congratulations, Mike.
If any students want to come up, and get your papers signed, feel free. And I'm gonna put us in a 10-minute recess.
We need to make a motion to go with the closed session, and then we can just tell them.
Okay. So we wanna go.
Yeah, I mean, we're gonna have to get it right.
Is there a motion to go into closed session?
I'll make that motion, support closed session.
Is what?
First of all, yeah, if we can just finish our business before people start talking. We're allowed to go into closed session for specific purposes. In this instance, it's my understanding that Ellen has requested it in closed session. And that is the one and only time that someone can dictate for us whether it's an open or closed. So it's for that purpose at her request, and then you can take your vote.
Lyman?
Yes.
Dick?
Yes.
Miller?
Yes.
Lee?
Yes.
Armstrong?
Yes.
Howard?
Yes.
Hicks?
Yes.
And then we will go into recess for 10 minutes.